Hey everybody, Marion here, and I am in this amazing rainforest in Washington State on the Olympic Peninsula. I'm very soon going to be heading all the way to the tippy tippy, except I'm not going to like the little dinghy that falls beneath the whatchamacallit, you know. Words escaping, but that parallel, right, between Canada and the United States goes across, like, and there's this little peninsula that's like you have to go through Canada to get to, but it's the United States. Anyway, wow, that was. Anyway, so not going there, but going to Blaine. So I'm really going to the woof woof. Now, when I was in Maine, I wanted to go to oh my God, the name of the town begins with an L, and it's the eastern Lubbock, maybe, Maine. Um, no, I don't think that's right. Anyway, I'll put it on the screen. I'll look it up. It's the easternmost point in of the United States. Okay. Um, now I haven't gone to Alaska or anything like that, but we're talking about contiguous United States, and it's kind of like exciting to be all the way over on the other side. And so Washington is my 34th state um, to be in. Now, I have not painted since I hit the road back in May. And we are now, so you could almost say I've been on the road for 2 months. Um, there's been a lot of adjustment period for me. Um, I thought I'd given myself enough healing time, but I didn't really realize how much underlying anxiety was still attached to the robbery. So when I first got off the road, initially, I mean, it was after having my power station stolen. So my solution for my weight problem and my eating issues was to get a refrigerator. But then with the power station being stolen, I was unable to do that because that was a $1,500 investment that I was in a place of feeling very defeated. You know, I'd been on the road for 3 years and my body weight was really low, and I'm in, going through hormonal changes at my age. Put it all together. It's not the best equation. My thinking was getting womp womp. And I was really not in a good place. So I needed to settle in, and I did. I found a community that is amazing, and I took a whole year to be with that community. Now, I moved back into the van in February, so I was only in an apartment for 9 months. And honestly, like, yes, it helped, but no, it didn't. Right? Because I realized very much that I like being. It made me very aware of my neurodivergence. Let's put it that way. Um, I was afraid to do anything, touch anything. Um, it, I saw a whole different side of myself. After living in the van for as long as I've lived in and being in my own space, that's mine, that I don't have to be hyper aware of, with Nugget. Um, yeah, it became really obvious to me. Um, and it caused issues for me. And made them really apparent. And in some ways, I have found some solutions. Like right now, I'm working with a coach. And I get to work with them until December, I think they said. I get to work with them until December. So, yeah, I mean I'm excited. Like I get to. I was like I'm not going to be disappointed. I have to like not worry about the day that I'm not going to have them in my life. It's more that I just want to take advantage of having them in my life when I've got them in my life. Anyway, um yeah, so this is just me expressing, vlogging. Um so yeah, the having the power station stolen has left its mark. I'm doing my best to work through it by still traveling. The difficulty, it has come in focusing on it's very apparent to me that I need 3 separate stations in my existence for living. That is one thing the apartment gave me that I took advantage of. And when I moved out of the apartment and tried to use a studio, it was forced because the studio wasn't mine. And I know but I have serious autonomy issues in my neurodivergence. And I'm doing my best to embrace it and find things that really work for me. And what I'm doing is feeling out all of these different options and finding what really isn't working. And when I am working well, what is it that worked? Right? So when I am in painting mode in the van, I don't eat. Why? Because that means I have to put everything away and then pull everything out and then clean everything up and then put everything away and then pull everything out. Okay? There are those of you who are and are like, oh, damn, yeah, I get it. So when I was painting, I did not eat. And now that I'm doing my best to eat, I am not painting. But when I was in the apartment, I was able to have my painting set up and always out. And I was able to like set timers for myself to remind me to get food to eat. And I had a refrigerator and a freezer, which meant I could keep food that I could just quickly put on the stove, set another timer, let it go off, eat it, and be able to still be looking at the painting while I'm doing all of this. I know for those of you who understand, you understand that when you break the momentum, the momentum is broken. It is very difficult to wrap back into it, especially if you have to go through that many steps, which I have to do in this van all the time. And when I'm by myself, I don't want to undo too much because I have to remember to put it all back. I don't have a partner to say, hey, Marion, don't forget. Hey, Marion, don't forget. I have to remember everything everywhere I go. And there are people who know me. See the frustration that you see, that you hear, is my frustration with me. And I am expressing this because I have, in the past on my channel, always shared where I am and what's going on. And one of the reasons I stopped doing it is because I was TMIing. Okay, I was going too far. Because that's where my thinking was going. I wasn't in a healthy place. So it was time to shut off the camera. Take a break. Nugget is like so comfy on the chair right now. Hang on. I know, I just caught you. It's the sound of that camera turning on always gets your attention. And catching her at a very private moment. Bath time! She's so freaking cute. And when I now understand the service animal. Okay, so there is another element. She is a really big part of all of this. I am traveling in summer months, and it has been, up until now, up until like a couple weeks ago, it's been pretty easy to find shady places all the time to park and then have shade for her. So I have to leave her in the van when I go into the store. I can't bring her in. It's too traumatizing for her. She does not like being around all those people. She's not a people cat. This is how she has grown up. And I did my best to socialize her, but the fact of the matter is she is not a people cat. She is a black barn cat that I rescued. So, anyway, and those of you who know cats understand. She's really specific. I am her human. I'm the only human. And then when other humans come around that she really likes, I know their energy is good. Because she is really specific. And if she doesn't, boy, this lighting is so bad. I can't tell. I look like Spooky because of the reflection. Ooh. Will that do anything? Oh, that's horrible light. Wait, can I change the color of it? Is that okay? One of the things that I am working on with my coach is finding ways of creating accountability for myself. Body doubling really works for me, but I don't body double well unless the other energy wants to be productive also. So it's a shared productivity energy. So if they want to be productive, then I want to be productive. And then my productivity also motivates them. So it's reciprocal. I'm going to do my best to do this in a group Zoom atmosphere. Being accountable digitally really is not my jam. I actually prefer I need to know your energy in person. I need to feel your vibration, if you know what I'm saying. And if I can't feel your vibration, I don't know. I'm going to do my best. I'm just going to do my best. That's all there is to it. I'm doing my best to take advantage of this incredible gift that this coach is for me. I've been in the right place at the right time to be able to get this help. I am self-diagnosed autistic. I was diagnosed officially ADHD back in my 30s. And yeah, I am saying that out loud. I'm putting it on video. And I am very self-conscious about doing that. However, most of us have no other choice but to do it this way because there's not a whole lot of affordable availability for getting um what's the word? Leaving. It's like hello, running around. Oh my gosh. You know, when they ask you questions and write down your answer. It's such a simple word, and it is so eluding me right now. Well, what is? Sometimes when I describe the word, it will appear, but it hasn't appeared. So I had to come to this myself. I did have a tiny bit of help. So before I left in the van for a few years while my dad was dying, yes, he was he was almost 90 years old. He wasn't 90, but he was almost 90 years old. He was close. He died in 2019. He had Alzheimer's and his body shut down. He stopped eating and his body shut down. So, yeah. I wanted to go through that process well, so I chose to get a therapist at that time to help me be there for him and be there for my mom in a healthy way, right? Because I wanted to do it well. I wanted good memories. I had someone say to me, "You are making memories for you, not for other people." Oh my gosh, what a revelation that was. And from that moment, I started to look at my life very differently. I'd been in search for my authentic self because I am in recovery and realized that even though I didn't drink my whole life, I drank in waves. But they were extended waves. And caused great self-destruction and destruction around me. Hang on. Well, anyway, my point is, and I am getting to a point, I have been blocked I haven't been feeling like I can paint, like I can pull everything out and go through the process. I am definitely in a place of composing. So I've done a little bit of sketching, but not a whole lot. And I can't even remember where I put the book at the moment, which has just made my stomach. Anyway, I feel very discombobulated. So, what does it mean to be both of these things, ADHD and autistic? I have an extreme need for order and an inability to keep it. And it is a constant battle inside my head and inside my body. And I really am doing my best to deal with that. The way the van is what it is, and I have made the best of it, and I'm still making the best of it. I love living in a vehicle. I love being mobile, so I want a box truck. An apartment made me feel dead inside. I did not feel good. I felt horrible. Being stuck in one place made me feel horrible. That's a lesson that I learned. Having a home base was amazing, right? Like, because February to May, I stayed in the area that I had been in Truth or Consequences, Elephant Butte, right? That whole area. And I absolutely loved it. And I just moved around and camped in all different spots, right? And I had places where I could go to get a shower and do laundry. I have really great friends in town. So it's a home base. It's a place to go back to for me. But I want to do it still being mobile. Like, I want to go back and get a spot in town so that I can soak every day for at least a month. But I don't know that I want to do it for more than a month. And I like that freedom. That I could do that for a month, then go to the state park for a couple of weeks, go to the other state park for a couple of weeks, go to another state park for a couple of weeks. Right? The box truck enables me to have an all-in-one. I mean, I have a really dreamy setup, and it could take me years to build it out. I don't have to have it built tomorrow. I can live in the box truck pretty raw for quite some time. But the goal is to have it fully insulated. If it's a 14-foot truck, empty shell, I can build 4 feet of storage into like 2/3 of it, and then have the last bit of it be just really well insulated, but like a step down. Because I'm thinking that last third of the truck will be my art studio, and that I can open up the back with barn doors. I want barn doors on the back so that they open like this, and then I can attach them to the sides. I want them to swing all the way out, or I want them to be able to be just like fanned, so I can create a gallery and paint from my home. One of the things I've learned about myself is I have a real issue leaving all of this behind, especially since I got robbed. I mean, I know I was there when it happened, but having like full solar on the roof and everything, having everything all in one, being able to stay self-contained, not having to take anything out if I don't, right? Like, so the dream is to have a deck that falls, comes down off the back, right? And then my doors open up. I don't know, is it a deck, or is it just a, like that ice truck that had the lift that unfolded and went up and down? Ooh, I like it. Right, that can be something that already exists. And that doesn't have to be built. The barn doors on the back, I probably have to do. I could probably get like really cool freezer doors, that are already insulated for refrigerated trucks. Yeah, I know. See, wheels are spinning. I'm trying to think of ways of doing this with already existing materials. I do have definite, like, I want to design the window cuts in the sides of the vehicle. I do not need a skylight. However, I do want a hatch. So, because I realized, I'm going to have a couple of fans, an intake and an outtake fan, right? Because most of the time that's what I'm going to use. There's going to be 600 watts of solar on the roof and 3 SOK batteries. That is with like inverters and all the stuff. I don't know who, I don't know what. I follow a guy who does box truck stuff, and he's a solar dude. I've mentioned him before, Nomad Brad. He does solar installations and helps people with their box trucks and stuff. Anyway, I follow him and I've listened to him. He runs everything off his solar. He has an induction cooktop and all that stuff. I like cooking with gas. So I like a flame. It's just a personal preference. I don't really understand how those induction cooktops work. As soon as they get too complicated for me and I have too many rolls, I'm done. Just done. If it's not simple, I ain't doing it. I'm sorry. I, it's not anytime soon. Not unless somebody wants to like come and tutor me. Because that's what it would take for me to remember it and learn it. And don't tell me to read the manual, because I tried that. Still failed miserably. Oh. Anyway. I so digressed. And yet, that in itself is such an example of what I'm talking about here. All right. And when you live alone in your vehicle, you just got you. So, right? Like, Nugget is amazing and helps me get outside myself a lot. I do. It's weird. After having that stolen, I became very hyper aware of people knowing that I am a solo female traveler while I'm traveling. It's been one of the reasons why I had a really hard time putting out videos again. I'm really hyper aware of where I am and not letting anybody know where I am, except for the closest people to me. And is it healthy? Not necessarily, but I'm not sure whether or not I'm being too hyper safe or just safe enough. I don't know. See? Like, so I go the more hyper safe route to be safe. The other day I was walking on a road and in a free camp area on a lake in southern Washington, and it's earlier. I may have already posted the video. I might not have posted it yet. I'm not sure. Um, but it's, I I came upon a sign that said area closed, no trespassing. So I went, oh, and turned around. There were no cameras. I could have gone exploring. I mean, yeah, it was a little ominous. The road was like completely grown over and like it was definitely in rehabilitation. This is a I don't know exactly what it's called thing. Um but it's also one of the things that makes that that has made me very vulnerable in my life to being manipulated by other people, even without them trying to do it. Which really sucks because I wasn't aware that I was sensitive to them. That's one of the things, like someone said to me, why is it so important for you to have a label to be diagnosed? So that I can understand me, so that I can understand how my brain works, so I can understand who I was when these things happened in my life and why I responded the way I responded, in order that I may be aware of how to be in the future. Because that's how my brain operates, and knowing the diagnosis helps me understand that that's how my brain operates and allows me to forgive myself from times like this where I am not painting, even though I'm calling myself an artist, and then I hear this voice in my head, and it's because one person said it. It's how can you call yourself an artist if you're not painting? Right? And so my imposter syndrome flares up and starts questioning myself. I'm still composing all the time with every single photograph I take. And what? Photography isn't an art? That's like, where did that come from? Except that I think along the lines, I came up with that conclusion when digital photography came into play, and when the art of producing your own images through development, right, and working in the darkroom, when that left the photographer's hands, I have this like, it's no longer an art. But then digital photography came along, and now we can digitally manipulate our own images. And so now it is more of an art. And yet, because so many people have access to it, I think everyone has the ability to compose. No, I the truth is I have a composer's eye. So I am constantly composing. Even when I'm just looking out my doors, I'm framing the image. I'm always framing the image. I will always be a picture framer. It just will never leave me. Or I became a picture framer because I was a closeted artist who needed an outlet. Which one is it? Maybe both. So, no, I'm not painting right now. But I am collecting content to paint when I'm in a place where I feel secure to paint. Where I feel safe setting up and being able to be with it without judgment and without having to move tomorrow or the next day. And that's difficult in the van because I got to replenish my ice all the time. So if I was someplace that had an ice machine, I might be able to make that work. You know, but or someplace where I feel really comfortable being and setting up for like a month. You know, where the van is just a vehicle, but I've moved Nugget and everything into the house. I mean, I don't like the whole idea of moving everything or being in someone else's space. I really don't. But it is when I am most productive. So a one-room studio is what I would want. And I don't want anything as big as what I had before. What I had before was too big. It was too big. And I don't want that responsibility of paying for it. It was too much responsibility for me. I had help. And I couldn't maintain it. So, and the stress of that is paralyzing. So whatever the space is, it has to be without obligation. And it may not be until I get back to New Mexico. Until I get back to where I could be, have a conversation with my friend who's storing my art and whose studio space I shared for a brief period of time to finish one painting, but it was a big one. But I just explained to you why I struggle with that, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is other than because then I can freaking tape a piece to the wall, right? Like, my concept is to have a board that is big enough to hold for me to tape a sheet on that I can. Like, they make these lagoon tables, and I'm thinking like a lagoon table, but a lagoon easel. So it would be attached to the wall, so I could either work on it, you know, on an ankle like this, straight up and down, flat, if I want to. And change my perspective. I know not tons, but maybe I have a mount on each wall so that I can move it from wall to wall. These are all thoughts. These are all thought designs that I've had in my head on how to maximize. And now you say, well, why? And yes, part of it's my struggle with leaving the van, which is why finding campgrounds like this that I'm like in the rainforest. So, one of the comorbid things with being neurodivergent often is hypermobility. So, whether or not I am diagnosed with a connective tissue disorder, I am definitely someone who has been hypermobile their whole life, and all of their joints are exhausted and in constant pain. Right now, I'm in the rainforest, and it's really humid and really painful. However, I'm in the rainforest and I am taking as many photographs as I can. I am stopping where I can, when I can. Yes, gas is an issue still, of course, always. So click the link in the description box below. If you would like to contribute to the gas fund, I'd really appreciate it. And the main maintenance of the van fund. I need to pay all my bills in order to keep doing all this. So, thanks for all of those who continue to do it too, by the way. So I have patrons on Patreon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Traveling through the Northwest like this, I am struggling with service. So posting all of these things have been really tricky for me. And I don't know how I'm going to put this together because this is already really long, but it's been a long time since I have sat down and told you guys, like, exactly how I feel and what's going on. And I still absolutely love this life. There's no doubt in my mind that my wanderlust is something I was born with, and it was about time I answered it. However, simple tasks have become even more painful than they used to be. And that's also another reason why painting is a struggle for me, because taking out all that stuff and setting everything up, by the time I'm done doing it, sometimes my body is already exhausted. So I'm not going to be hiking stuff out on a trail with the hopes that when I get there, I'll be able to. Because most of the time I can't even get there because I don't. And it's illegal in all of the states, pretty much, most of them, to leave my animal in the vehicle unattended. So that's always on my brain. Because Nugget does not want to, she wants to come with me, but I can't paint and babysit her at the same time. Please. I don't know how other people do it. And I'm glad you can. I'm a helicopter mom. So there's that. But also, like, my hands sometimes don't work. So, and if I'm hiking, oftentimes, like if I try to hike with poles, my hands fall asleep. So can't really hike with poles. I haven't tried hiking with just a single stick yet. Now, if I'm hiking with somebody and I can pass it to them when my hands need to be freed up to get my circulation going again. Because what's the point of a walking stick if when you go to use it, you don't have enough feeling in your hands to be able to use it? And that's what happens. And my feet also, same thing happens to my feet. They start falling asleep while I'm hiking, and I can't feel them from my um, mid foot forward, and then all of a sudden they'll be on fire. So I really try to avoid the fire because when that comes, that's rough. Um, so I've learned to take breaks. I feel the pre-fire. um, and once I feel the pre-fire, I get off my feet and put my feet up. Often I will take off my shoes in order to let my feet just kind of do their thing. Um, and then when they start to feel like feet again, I can put my shoes back on and continue moving forward. I have very little patience for me I have very little patience for me. That's the honest truth. And so I have a really hard time believing that other people have patience for me. And the diagnosis is important. Why? Because I do need a handicap sticker. Much as I hate to say that, I need it. I've worked really hard to avoid assistance, but I may not have a choice in that. And if I have to accept disability, that means I need a diagnosis. And back to the coach, because she's helping me get myself a general practitioner. Another reason why I needed a home base. So we're working on that. Yeah. I have a lot on the table, and almost all of it is piecemeal, is little by little, little by slowly. So this is where it is. This is where I'm at. I am still in hopes that I can generate enough followers on Patreon to create an income that is sustainable for this project to the point to get me through publication anyway. And possibly to fund future projects and not have to do it so hard. I do believe in starting from the ground up with things. I need to move on to the next level. And okay, I hear the RV argument. RVs are money pits. They're cheaply built. They are not built as homes. They are built as temporary travel homes. Not meant to be lived in on a daily basis. That's not how they are built. And with the amount of abuse that it takes when you're living in it, it's better to have something that's better built than that. I'm sorry, but I can spend less money on a box truck build and have it built better than an RV that costs $150,000. And I can spend, like, if I really go there, I can spend $40,000 and have like a super sweet build. Like, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just, I would much rather have a really well built home on wheels than babysit and fix and repair constantly. Like, even the van has been way easier to maintain than an RV. I mean, living in the van is hard, like that. But as far as braking is concerned, yeah. I mean, yeah. But like in an RV, you have a lot of seams to deal with. You have, and you have to trust like I had someone who, so not I had someone, I watched a YouTube video of a guy who has a whole bunch of viral video. I cannot remember his name. I saw this video a couple years ago, and that's what started me on this kick. Did a whole series of videos on how to reinforce your RV. So, like, he took a basically brand new RV and re-seamed the whole thing to reinforce all of the seams, put extra coatings on the roof to protect the roof, resealed all the windows, like, extra sealed the windows, redid all the plumbing, and redid all the electrical. So I ask the question, and I hear my father in my head, don't put good money after bad. And that's a thing, one of those things that I'm kind of like, yeah, I agree with that. I'm not going to put good money after shit. And that's how I feel about RVs and the quality of them. Hey, I'm not saying nothing about people who own them. This is me personally. I don't want to be responsible for having to fix all that stuff. I struggle. I don't have the physical capability, and I don't have the income to keep up fixing something like that, because that means I'm constantly having to pay other people to help me with it. Instead of like having it built well once, getting it checked on, once or every year or 2 years to make sure everything's still all, you know? That's just my... So there's my van life reality and reason for my choice in the box truck build. Also, height. I still have clearance with the box truck. and I can really upgrade suspension and all sorts of stuff, and like do super lifts kits, and I mean there's all sorts of ways to turn it into an adventure vehicle. I've seen the earth roamers, and I see how I can create that through my designs. I mean, granted, I'm going to need somebody in their hands to do all the building because I can't work tools anymore. That's a hard sentence for me to say out. Anyway, so I'm gonna end this van life vlog vent. No, because it wasn't really a vent. I'm just telling you what is. Getting you up to date on. No, I don't feel fantastic physically. This is hard emotionally and mentally. I'm doing my best to keep it as positive as I can keep it for me. Have discovered shit tons about myself that has all led to positive places. So this is not a complaint. It's far from it. I have goals, and I still would like to meet them. And I'm going to continue to work toward them. I will continue to collect content. I am on a reconnaissance mission, is how I see this loop. Will I get to a place where I will be able to feel like I can comfortably set up and paint? I really do hope for that. There's time. I don't have to be back in New Mexico till December. So, all right. I'm ending this here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Check out the description below if you'd like to become a patron on Patreon to help with my income. And you'll see different posts that come through. I mean, I know right now it's been tricky because of my service, but don't worry. I go through periods of like, if I'm struggling with service, you may not get a whole lot for a little while, but then all of a sudden you'll get to and there'll be tons of content to go through. So, and plus there's like 4 years of content. So there's a lot on my Patreon to keep you busy. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are having your best day. Right? Wherever you are in the moment. I hope you can embrace it. That's what I'm looking to do for myself. Embrace it. See you next time.